In today's video, we're going to go over one of the trade setups from Wednesday's breakout session. Okay, that's when subscribers get to suggest a stock and I see if it is setting up or not. And actually, a lot of my subscribers have gotten really good at making these picks. And then I just do the work and we have a trade setup. Anyway, this was a daily chart of VMW. And one of the things that I saw was price was clearly above the 200 simple, above the 50, and the 5 and 13 were in a buy mode with the 5 above the 13 as far as the EMAs are concerned. The pattern was a bullish pattern of higher highs and higher lows, and we were having a symmetrical pullback. Basically, I took a bunch of these prior declines within the uptrend and actually some of the swings within the swings, and it projected them from the most recent high and came up with actually quite a few projections that were coming together in the same general areas. And then I also looked for a confluence with any of the other retracements of prior swings, and you can see that there were some retracements that overlapped some of these swings here. And there were two areas that stood out on the top. The first one was 91.36 to 92.23. Actually, I erased the 23 after we went slightly through it, and then underneath that we were looking at 90.95 to 91.03. So the way that you use this work is setup plus trigger equals trade entry, and then you manage it. So we had the setup zone and we did test the setup zone, and once that area held, what you want to do is go down to a lower time frame chart to trigger an entry. Okay, you don't want to wait for a signal on the same chart that the setup is, because otherwise you'll get involved very late. Okay, you'll be late to the party. So for example, one of the triggers that we use, which is the aggressive swing trade trigger, is a 15-minute chart. Okay, and this is where you wait for the 834 EMA crossover to the upside for a buy, and then in that process you also want to see a pattern shift. So what I mean by that is you can see that we were looking at a bearish pattern of lower lows and lower highs into that support decision. I wanted to see a pattern shift by it taking out a prior swing high, suggesting that we might have a reversal in pattern and shifting to, higher highs and higher lows instead, which is essentially what it did. So once both of those things occur on the lower time frame chart, you know that you can enter the trade. And a lot of us are using option strategies, but let's see, you had the crossover here, and then look to the left and see where it took out a prior swing high. Well, it took out one here, it also took out one here, it also took out one here. And then you have the option of, entering the market then and placing a stop either underneath the low or underneath the cluster. Or you can wait for a pullback after the initial signal, because a lot of times, well, at least 3 out of 4 times you're going to get a pullback after, and you can, surgically set up a re-entry, okay, by running even smaller swings here and the retracements and all that good stuff. Anyway, bottom line, this is an example of a trade setup and then a trade trigger. And if we get the full move, which I have no idea if we will or not, the only thing that I knew was that I had support here, and then I had a buy trigger, and then I knew what my risk was. The potential upside target is, target 1 is 95.57. Second target would be 96.53. So again, I don't know if we're going to get there or not, but I do know that that is typically what we shoot for. And beyond that, if you took a trade and once it triggered, one of the things that you can do is you can get to a break-even stop as soon as possible and then trail it up as you go.